Welcome back to the CX Mixer podcast. This is episode 5 and the last episode of season 1. On today's episode, we chat with Kayla, director of CX at Jackson, and Tess, senior CX manager at Dr. Squatch. It's an action-packed episode around how do you market to men as a new consumer, and how do you build CX around brands that are focused on men. We cover a lot of topics. We tell a lot of fun stories. Let's jump into the episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to the CX Mixer podcast, episode 5. I'm super excited for today's episode, mostly because I'm talking to two men's brand powerhouses, right? We've got Kayla. Kayla, you're the director of CX at Jackson.
Yeah.
And Tess, senior CX manager at Dr. Squatch.
Yes.
So we've got gold chains and bars of soap.
Yeah.
Right? And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about like designing CX for the modern man. So I guess I'm kind of representing the modern man today because you guys are both two like female bosses who are running CX at these brands.
Yeah.
Who knows? You're a target audience.
Right, exactly. So I'll put you guys to the test today on the conversation. But Kayla, you've been with Jackson for a while now. So like how long, I always like to ask like how long have you been there? Maybe what you do before and how big your team is.
Yeah, so I've been with Jackson for 4.5 years now. Sometimes it feels like it's gone by so quickly. Other times I'm like, wow, it's been a really long time. But this is honestly, it's my first job in the e-commerce world. I had worked for many years in retail and retail management. I actually studied fashion history and jewelry in grad school. So I always had an interest in fashion and kind of the retail space in general. So coming into Jackson, it was like, okay, I've done years and years of like customer support type roles, but then also have this, side of like, I love fashion and jewelry, and it merged so well.
And I have a 9-year-old boy and an 11-year-old boy that are big into gold chains now. And we're like big Jackson fans. I think you and I met at the CX Mixer at eTail West. You hooked me up with a little bit of a promo code after the event, and I got my kids blinged out for the school year. So it was an exciting time. We're big Jackson fans here.
That's so exciting. I mean, kids got to look good at school,
Exactly, for sure. My kids are looking good. And Tess, I mean, the brand of the moment, right? With your guys' Sydney Sweeney collab and Unilever acquisition. So, and yeah. I love your background because you've been at Dr. Squatch, but before that it was like coffee, candles. So give us a little bit of background on you and how big the team is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, big things are definitely happening at Dr. Squatch right now, always actually, but we've definitely put ourselves on the map recently. And then a little bit about me, I've actually worked at Dr. Squatch a little less than a year, but my background is pretty much all over the place. I used to actually be a fashion photographer, and that kind of somehow I was able to pivot and sell myself into e-commerce. And, it's so funny. Yeah, I worked at a florist company. I've worked at a candle company. I worked at Missouri, which is a fine jewelry brand as well. But all of these are technically tailored more towards women. So this is the first company I've worked for that is really for the modern man. So It was a really interesting pivot, but it's been by far the best job I've had and the best company I've worked for.
And how big is the CX team at Dr. Squatch?
It's just 2 of us in the headquarters, but we also work with a outsourced BPO who are my second family, Horatio. So, there are CX agents. They're the ones answering the tickets, but outside of that, it really is just us 3 women handling the men.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I keep saying that in every episode. I think people think from these brands, there's these massive teams and you find out that it's like people are doing a lot with a small team. Kayla, I don't think we heard from you. How big is the team at Jackson?
Yeah, so we have both in-house and outsourced team members. There is about 16 of us. However, managing kind of like the stuff at HQ, there's 2. It's me and my gal Hunter. And it's really one of those things, like you said, like there's just a few of us and we're kind of doing it all. And, by working with so many other departments too, it's like, it gets kind of crazy sometimes because there's really very, very few of us. And that is one, I think those things is like, they assume we have these huge, massive teams. It's really not, if you want to ask a question, it's like, I probably do that. Or, or my, my manager Hunter on my team, she probably does it. And it's like, it gets kind of crazy sometimes, but it's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think like CX wears like marketing and product and
Yeah.
site design and tech. And it's been interesting, as we wrap up this first season of the CX Mixer podcast, to like see all the different hats that you guys wear. I think that's been kind of the most eye-opening thing to me. Well, today's episode we talk about is like, how do you guys handle CX for the modern man? So I think just kind of like before we jump into some of our segments, what do you guys think most people get wrong when they're thinking about customer experience for men? And maybe Tess, start with you since you're
I'm handling
open
them.
up.
Yeah, I think the preconceived notion about our male shoppers is oftentimes that they don't really online shop, or if they do, they are pretty simple men, right? And for us at Dr. Squatch, we really quickly, the first thing we did was do our market research. Who are our customers and how do we tap into like a different type of marketing with them? So really quickly realized that the modern man is someone who's actually got quite a sense of humor.
Mhm.
It ranges from like we have customers who are like in the 18-year, like young teenagers whose moms buy them their soaps.
Yeah,
And then we have like, mid 30s to 40s men. And all of them have this really cheeky sense of humor and do care about like hygiene, or at least want to care about hygiene, want to look good, want to
yeah,
smell good. So what I realized was, you think that male shoppers don't really care about what they're putting their money into, but actually they really do. And a lot of the times, what they care most about is like quality, consistency, and customer service, actually, is a big
mhm.
thing for them.
I think that so we did an episode with Glossier and Bobble
Yeah.
Bar around community, and that one was all kind of around like these female-centered brands that have these massive communities. But I know from both of your brands, but primarily Dr. Squatch, there's this avid fan club, and like
Yeah.
I'm guilty. I joined a like a Facebook group for Dr. Squatch, and I think if you're listening to this, if you want to see something just wild as a like a brand, join a Facebook group for doc. I never understood that people collect bars of soap.
Yeah, we have a huge fan base. When I first started the company, I was like, we're working with the company, not started the company. Um, I knew about Dr. Squatch, but as a woman, you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, I know, like, this is a men's soap company, whatever. I had no idea the like gratitude of Dr. Squatch and like the mass fan base. We have like I think well over 1 million and growing followers on Instagram. We have Facebook groups. We have a Reddit group. We have groups everywhere. Whenever I go to conferences and I'm holding a, Dr. Squatch badge, like we have men just flocking to us
Yeah,
being like, we love your brand. And I'm like, it's literally a $7 soap, but that's amazing that you love us so much.
yeah,
It makes me feel proud, and yeah, our community is huge and they love collecting our soaps. We have this one guy who has like a whole shelf in the
yeah.
back of all the soaps.
That's
It's
amazing.
it's incredible. So when we do like, those collaborations, those drops in the Sydney Sweeney Bathwater Bliss, like like our website broke because of how massive that was. But it's also because of how massive our fan base is. And they're always so linked into like the next promotion or collab that we're going to put out. So
Yeah, people will
I'm
like
very
cut
proud of
into a bar of soap and say, "Oh, this one's a fresh one. This one's not a fresh." Like they know
yeah.
you're manufacturing, which I think is such a switch from Jackson, right, with jewelry.
Mhm.
And I think like maybe you go into this now being there 4 years. Like, how have you seen sort of this evolution of the male shopper since you've been there?
Yeah, I think, just like Tess said, like guy shoppers, they care. They do, like, they're a lot chattier than, someone might assume. They definitely reach out to us, can ask questions. They want to talk on the phone. They're super into socials. Not everyone, because we definitely have a wide range of customers. Like, clearly, we got some kiddos who might not
Yeah,
even be allowed to be on socials. And then, customers as old as like 70 or 80 who are like, I don't know what this is. But we too have a great community. Really, people who are super into sports, or we have our podcast, and people get really excited over that. And I think it's for a lot of those customers guys who've never worn jewelry, and they're just learning about it and discovering it through these, communities. So that's always really fun.
I think people do underestimate sometimes. It, outside of like the brand world, the power of the male consumer. Because we look at brands like on the first episode, True Classic and Tommy John, they're primarily focused on men, and they're fast
Mhm.
growing brands with a large audience. I think that men are doing even better about building communities online around brands that they love, and they're bigger brand advocates, right? Like they're talking about the brands that they love. I see this with
Mhm.
like when I'm talking with Yeti and stuff like that, right? Like these brands where maybe you didn't think they were social focused brands like TikTok and stuff are now, I mean, Yeti has the viral, and I was influenced on TikTok by this. They have the viral bag of the summer, right? So you're watching this, like, go on TikTok, type in Yeti, and you're going to see a million videos of people that are like buying their bags and stuff and using them on boats and etc. So no, I think that that's interesting. I'm excited to jump into this. And Tess, you kind of teased it. Like you guys are an all women group. It sounds like Kayla, you're an all female
Yep.
group. Like, do you guys think that when it comes to building customer experience for men, that gives you like an advantage, or why do you think that is, that it's primarily female dominated group?
I think with CX in general, it tends to be a female dominated group, which I really love. I love seeing women in leadership positions, and CX is such a pivotal department for every e commerce business. For us specifically, it just happened that we were three women who are just really excellent at our jobs. We're deeply empathetic. We're very attuned with what our customers need and are asking for. And I think oftentimes our customers don't know that it's just three women most of the time managing all of their concerns and issues, but it also makes me love it even more because I do get to really understand the male consumers. Again, I've said it before, like I've had 10 years of experience, but a lot of those CX experiences were with just like female focused brands. So it's almost like a case study for me, but it's really interesting to see just how much our male shoppers like care about like what they're buying. So
Yeah.
just out of sheer luck, it was three women.
Yeah, Kayla, for you guys, I mean, I guess jewelry's kind of like gender fluid, right? Like I mean,
Mhm.
so soap, but there's a lot of products on Dr. Squatch that are really male focused. I mean, do you find that you being a female led group helps you to figure out how to market to men better, or answer their
I think you know
experiences?
what it does, because I think in a way like our marketing and content team, they're great. They put out a lot of stuff that like men really love. But I think from when you go to the CX side, you have to learn too that there are a lot of women shopping Jackson to give
Hmm.
like we're huge like gift in gifting, like women are there shopping for their boyfriends, their husbands, their kids, as well as sometimes even like we will have like, oh yeah, like a woman is like, yeah, my husband bought this but I'm taking care of it for him. So you have to be able to communicate to both customers in that way. But I think too with men, I think it's also about understanding like what questions are they asking, how do they best respond to how we provide that support. Like I think one, like recently we had a customer who just like he could not figure out how to use his automatic watch. Like he's like, I'm sure it's broken because I've watched all the videos, I read your manual, and he's like, this does not work. So I was like, what if I just sent you a video of me doing it myself, and like we'll just see if that works. And I grabbed a watch, I just recorded myself, I have like a little tiny little tripod, and I'm like, we'll see what happens. And he's like, thank you, I understand now and it's working just fine. And I'm like, it was just about me understanding like, I'm sure a lot of these videos we have work for so many people, but there are going to be customers who don't learn that way. And I think that's just
Hmm.
one of those things, like if you can take your time to meet them where they're at, even though that took like, I just had to go run, I had to find a watch and do it, but it worked. And then it helps you kind of think like, okay, are there other customers who maybe are having a similar issue? What do we need to think of for next time when we drop a new product and stuff like that? So I think it's about just understanding like what they need to.
Yeah, that's great, and I think that's a great transition into our first segment here. So you're gonna have to think about another
Okay.
playbook item here, because I thought that one was really good actually. But the first segment is the CX playbook. So what's one CX tactic or moment that really worked for your brand in connecting with your male audience? And could be these customer education touch points that you talked about, or like loyalty and gifting. I know Dr. Squatch is really good at humor. So Tess, maybe we'll start with you. Like, what's something in your playbook that you think helps in CX?
Yeah, there's two things that we've recently really honed in on that has really significantly enhanced our customer experience. You're gonna hate me when I say this probably because everyone's talking about it, but we do have AI as a chatbot. We name him Chad, and the tone is exactly what our customer's tone is. It matches it so perfectly. We use it with our gorgeous help desk. And I think what really changed the game for us there is, first of all, we have an insane ticket volume. And oftentimes it's really hard for us to, kind of have that active reading, that tone, that empathy, all of those things that our QA team and our CX team really train our agents on, while also managing the massive ticket volume on a day-to-day basis. So the AI bot Chad really came in and helped like leverage a lot of those like one-touch tickets for us. But what I really love about him is oftentimes customers don't even know he's AI,
Mm,
just because of how well trained he is by,
yeah.
again, a woman. But this just goes to show that we really understand our customers, because when I say we have trained it to match the exact tone and voice of like our consumer, he's done it to a T. And it's just, again, really helped with our ticket volume. It's changed the game in terms of our metrics as well.
So your chatbot, it answers more than just like basic questions.
Yeah.
I think people, when they think of like an AI chatbot, they think of it like as just that first phase of like, what can I help you with? And you say like, oh, questions about quality, and then it just routes you to like an FAQ page or doesn't like actually communicate with you. So I think that'd be a fun task to go in and chat with your chatbot and see what things you could get it to say. Because if it's talking in the tone of like a Chad, like I'd be curious to see what
Yeah,
it comes
he's
back with.
chiseled. He's like, he's someone who goes to the beach in Venice, like doesn't take himself seriously. Sometimes a little too like dad jokey, in my opinion. But to the point where exactly that, Larry, like he really isn't just handling like one-off questions, which he can. Like it's so easy for an AI bot to do that. But what we want is him to feel like our 31st employee. We have a team of 30 agents who are handling tickets. He's our 31st.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
that's the gorgeous.
that's your gorgeous. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And Kayla, you're on gorgeous as well, right?
Yeah, we also use, AI agent, and I think it's funny. Like ours is like it has a chill vibe, but I've noticed like it's incredibly empathetic. And reading some of the responses, I was like, wow, that was kind of touching. Like this was very nice. And yeah, we've had customers too where I'll send them like a questionnaire saying like, hey, you recently used, you came into contact with our AI agent, and they're like, I didn't know this was AI. And that's always great to hear that like, okay, it had everything someone on our team might provide to them. And I think that's always great too, because you want to be able to have these tools so that you can get those questions answered. We're noticing, yeah, more and more it definitely is answering quality, product suggestions and things like that. But then our team doesn't feel so bogged down, and they're ready to have the conversations they always want to have with customers.
I think something that's really cool on the Jackson website is it has that thing where you can type in, I am looking for, like you
Mhm.
can pick what you want. Is that tied into something or just something on your website, or how is that
It's something
recommending
that we
that?
have, like we've had quizzes in the past. We really had like a huge revamp of our site, which turned out incredible. We did that last year, and I think something that we are using Gorgeous's shopping assistant, and with that, it's definitely asking, prompting these questions from customers, like, yeah, what are you looking for? Are you shopping for a gift? Is it for yourself? Like, what's the most important thing? And those are questions we would, any of my agents would ask as well. And I think that's where you can get customers to discover things a little bit better, or to get the information they need to make that purchase. And then from that, I'm learning like, okay, are we missing any areas of like product education, or, are there some products that customers are asking about that I didn't realize were, popular ones? Because I mean, sometimes we kind of have our idea of like what our best sellers are, like this is the number one chain, but then there's a lot of surprises of what customers are asking about. So I think that's like the exciting thing, like seeing the data and reading those, going through the tickets.
Yeah, and we talked about that on the episode with Carpe, where he mentioned like you need to read through your tickets, see how people are interacting. Like don't be disconnected from it, which seems so natural. Just like obviously go in and read them every day, and then see how you can then share that feedback with other areas of the business to then improve site performance, product feedback, stuff like that. And I think that ties back to CX wearing all these different hats and touching so many different departments.
Absolutely.
So segment two is one of my favorites that we've had for this season of this idea of the confession booth. So I think what's one memorable CX mistake you've experienced or been part of? Something that didn't go as planned? What did it teach you? And, Kayla, let's stay with you. Like, what's something that what mistake you've made and you've learned from it?
Yeah, I think on the topic of AI, just like we said, you have to QA, your AI. You have to read through those tickets. It's not just about the numbers. I think for us, there were some areas where some of my FAQs were a little vague, and I had an agent who was like, "I don't think this is right. Like, it gave a wrong answer, but I can't figure out why." And I was going over the ticket, and I'm like, well, I can see how AI agent interpreted my FAQ. And it's because I wrote it very vaguely. And it's showing that clearly a customer came and asked about it because it probably was too vague for them. AI took it very literally and didn't pick up that I was, it was a way like it wasn't written well. So I think for me, I was like, okay, I can now go back and improve upon it and make sure the language is
Mm.
still sounding great, but it's like it's more explicit. And I think that was one of those things where it's just like, you know, it's a robot, but it picked up on this and it kind of read between the lines and but they weren't wrong about it. So I think that was for me, it was a real learning experience to go back and reread things I've created, whether it is directly on the website or one of the macros that one of my agents are using or things like that.
I think the FAQs thing that you keep bringing up is it's obvious for Dr. Squatch being almost like this health and beauty brand that like there's a lot of things that you have to educate your customer on. Would you say maybe there's this misconception in jewelry that like you don't need to educate your customer? Like I feel like Jackson has, when I go on your website compared to other jewelry websites, there's a lot of information
Yeah.
around like what to expect, how to care and clean, all that
Mhm.
stuff. Do you find that like helps build a better experience for
I
your
think,
customers?
yeah, I think it does. I mean, I'm very passionate about like product education and just, in general and helping the experience. And I think one of the things that it does make it challenging is that like you don't want to overwhelm customers with too much info where they're like, you just gave me a whole article and I can't find like the answer I'm looking for. But then again, you don't want to be too vague and not provide what they're interested in. And so I think it's one of those things about like again, going through your tickets and understanding what are the questions customers are asking. How can you provide like short snippets that's going to help them? But also for the customers who do like reading through things, or maybe they want to watch a video or something like that, then having that as well. So I think there's a balance, and it can be a challenge because I think even from like year over year, like I've noticed there were times when it was way too much. And now I'm like, do we even have enough? But I think it's just about finding the balance and yeah, looking at your actual interactions to better understand and don't just make assumptions.
Yeah, for sure. And Tess, like, what about you? What's what mistake that you've made in the year that you've been at Dr. Squatch? We'll hope that they're not listening. And
Yeah.
you're up for your annual review, and you're like, well, I did this huge, big mistake.
Yeah, don't mind this one.
Yeah,
Honestly, I think a gap was understanding just how much our customers really did care. Again, I came into it thinking soap, so simple, so easy. And I really quickly understood like, no, not so simple,
yeah,
not so easy. Again, NCX, you would think like, especially with the outsourced BPO, that our jobs would be really relatively easy. But no, there's a lot of like digging into our macros, digging into our help desk, digging into what our customers are saying. So I'd say the gap for me really early on that I quickly learned. So if Dr. Squatch is hearing this, I immediately fixed it. Was actually actively reading what our customers are saying. So, when I was looking at CSATs, I was looking at a very data driven like point. So I would look at like our negative CSAT, see that it's related to product quality, and then I would like kind of like send it out, and then that's about it. But I wasn't actively reading what about product quality our customers were saying, and that there was an actual trend within a certain soap of ours, or like what do we do on the back end to ensure that maybe we obviously like QA our soaps and we always ask for batch numbers, but we don't track to see if there's an actual uptick or a trend. And I really quickly noticed that okay, we're just looking at this data like blanket likewise, and we're sending it out and then we're just like kind of tying the knot and calling it a day. But there's actually so much more that we can do here. So I would say now our team sends out like pretty much weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly feedback reports. We are always bringing in other departments into what CX is doing. So that way, like everything that our customers are saying directly correlates to one department or another, So whether it comes to shipping and packaging issues, that goes to fulfillment, product quality issues, that goes to our PQ team. And of course, we have our marketing. We have so many promotions, so many sales, so many collaborations. There's
Yeah.
definitely feedback there, So channeling that feedback, but also making sure we hold ourselves accountable and not just like read it and kind of like put it to the side. That was like a really big learning curve for me and really important too. So I
Yeah.
say I'm very proud of our CX team and how we channel that feedback through.
So, hot take here. I mean, obviously, you've been there almost 12 months. So, you've gone through two collabs that I thought were wild, right? You've got Sydney Sweeney, which is in everybody's mind right now. But what
Yes.
people are forgetting is before that, it was the Trojan condom collab at Valentine's Day that also had a bunch of issues where people were like, I didn't get my bouquet of Trojan condoms or whatever it was supposed to be like in the
Yeah.
thing, or like it was supposed to come with one. So, just kind of curious when we're talking about like mistakes, like you talked about how the site crashed, right? And you're
Yes.
dealing with upset customers who are thinking about free gifts. Just kind of curious, like how are you guys navigating that from like a customer experience standpoint? Like,
Yeah, we actually call it hashtag condom gate because it was such a bad move on our part. And I mean, even with the Sydney Sweeney thing, we actually had back to back meetings to make sure that we were ready for the massive wave of customers that were ready for this launch. Just to give you an insight, we had like well over 1 million people sign up for our giveaway for Sydney Sweeney. So we knew it was going to be big. We, didn't understand the gratitude that the power that this woman has on our customers. So, the way that we looked at it on the CX perspective was we're going to handle this as it comes, but then we're also going to put together like kind of an after action report and bring in all the departments, all the feedback that we collected. Luckily we have CSAT, we have our NPS that we look at as well. These two directly correlate with the customer's shopping journey. So a lot of our NPSs were directly related to Sydney Sweeney and the website crashing, and we were able to pull that into a quantitative point for our departments. I like to say like CX sounds like the negative Nancy, but we really aren't. We're hearing it, but we're also looking at a very data-driven point, channeling that feedback to you, and then also putting together like after action reports on what we could do better if we were to ever do like another massive launch like that with who knows who. I'm saying Pedro Pascal. Like, I don't want the website to break. Yeah, exactly.
I love this idea. Please let me know
The
if you
daddy
get that
bar.
greenlit.
I think that's more for the women, but who knows?
you never know.
You never know. But these things happen all the time. Like we do so many massive like launches and collaborations. Trojan was a big one. Our tactic is we live and we learn. We don't just like have it crash and then are like, okay, that sucked. And this is our CSAT. This is our NPS. This is what our customers are saying on even Trustpilot. We actually hear it, we look at it, we observe it, and we make sure it doesn't hopefully happen again. I don't know the power of Sydney Sweeney. We're not doing a part 2, I think. So
Yeah. Well, and Kayla, a lot of your influencers for Jackson are like sports figures, it seems like, right? Do you find that there's any negative backlash for that? Like people are like, why is this guy wearing your jewelry?
Sometimes we do, I think it's, for there's the kind of group of like, oh, that's not their favorite fighter, in UFC or boxing, MMA, things like that. Or just even sometimes they're a little controversial. And sometimes it's like, I don't even know about it because I'm not in that space all the time. And then it'll be like something, okay, I'm immediately going to go bring it back to my marketing team and my influencer marketing team and just like, hey guys, just want to like let you know this, or like, can you give me the context so that I can better understand like what I'm dealing with? But we also have like one of our models was on Love Island, and we had like a huge spike in engagement on socials to where one of my team members was like, I'm dying. My fingers are going to fall off. Like we just had so much engagement. But it was really positive and it's been really fun. So I think it's like, you just never know how that's going to be. And you can't make everyone happy, but I do think it's a responsibility from from the CX department to be like, hey, we have had concerns or complaints, or here's what people how they interpreted it. And like, sometimes I think that is important because a lot of times with content they're seeing like, oh well, this led to this much of sales, or like this had a ton of engagement, that's great for us. But I think it's always good to be like, it's like you said, Tess, like we don't have to be negative Nancy's about it, but I think it's great to share that, because if down the line that ever becomes a problem, you can never say you didn't bring it up.
Are you both watching Love Island?
Yes.
I had to stop once. So Jeremiah is our model who he got kicked off. So I was like, I can't anymore. This has consumed my life.
I've been telling our marketing team, like, we got to get our soap into Love Island. Do you understand what this would do for us?
CX Mixers is going to roll into like a reality show trash talk.
Exactly.
Well, segment 3, quick transition. Designer's Toolbox. What's one tool, vendor, or workflow you've used that helps shape a better experience for your customer? And now, when I think about this, I think we've already talked about Horatio, right? We've talked about Gorgeous. I mean, and it could be Gorgeous again. I know they touch a lot of different parts of both your guys' business, but just kind of curious, like maybe Tess, we'll start with you. Like, what's a tool that, or like a vendor that you just absolutely love?
Oh man, it's got to be Recharge. We are a huge subscription-based brand, and majority, I think all of our soaps, if not limited edition at least, are subscription-based. So I have to give a huge shout out to Recharge, because without them, it'd be really tough for us to navigate subscriptions. They take our feedback pretty much right away. They make it really easy and simple for us to navigate on the back end, because, we're always enhancing and improving the subscription for our customers. But to ensure we can do that on the back end is really important. And, we have Shopify, we have NetSuite, we have all these areas where our inventory lives. And the last place it ever really has an issue is luckily Recharge. So we're really grateful for it. It's 10 out of 10 in terms of subscriptions for us.
Yeah.
I'm really big on I love working with different platforms, but I need it to be really easy for me to manage, because I'm not a tech savvy girl. I work in CX,
Yeah.
I'm not in tech. So knowing how to navigate through something, being able to make those quick changes is really important for me, because if I can't do it, then definitely our customer can't do it, So
Yeah. I think that's an interesting question too about do you feel that, so I would say that women are more likely to enter a subscription for something, right? Like I think about my wife, my friends, they're like, oh, let me subscribe to this and I just want it to show up. And I mean, I'm not the modern man, I guess, but I never enter subscriptions because I'm like, well, I'll just order it again if I want. I'll just order it again. I don't know how often I'm going to use it. But you find Dr. Squatch subscriptions is a big part of your business. And it's not an issue to get people to do a subscription for soap.
Not at all, actually, which I guess says a lot about our customers being the fans that they are. But I mean, it's really impressive just how many loyal VIP customers we have. And when I say VIP, I just mean customers who've been with us for 4 to 5 years on a subscription and know what they like, have it on a reoccurring schedule, and are tried and true fans. But then we also have a lot of new subscribers that come in. And I think our team and ecom does it really well at making sure we have we really incentivize customers to get a subscription. Again, we come out with a lot of limited editions. We come out with, really, we sometimes come up with fun customer ideas. Like we have a root beer brick that we came out with because I had one customer asking 175 times for it. So yeah, I could go on for root beer, and we made it, and it's coming back soon. So
you heard it here first on CX Mixer. Root beer's coming back to Dr.
Coming back for that one guy.
The one guy.
He's so stoked.
He's like, they really love me, and we really do. We really love our customers. But I have to say, it's really interesting to see, because I agree with you, Larry. To be quite honest, I only have one current subscription. So I don't even think it's about men or women. It's just about how much you really love a product to invest in having it again and again. Yeah. And it goes to show our customers really do love our products. So thank
I love
you.
that. Kayla, tool in your arsenal in the
Yeah,
4 years
so
you've been there that you love.
we do not have subscriptions, but I will say people love to buy like bundled sets because then it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna have the whole thing, we're good to go. But I would say when it comes to like vendors, we already talked about Gorgeous, I think, but one of the integrations that works well for us is Okendo. And we use them for reviews and referrals, as well as like surveys. And I think one of those things is being able to learn so much about your customers through your reviews, and also just like a willingness for customers to engage with you in another way. And so for us, like we integrate Okendo into Gorgeous, and my team's able to respond to literally every single review, regardless if it's good or bad. And then for me, like I'll go through some reviews and just kind of like, I mean, like we do this as like a normal thing. Like, hey, we need to go through reviews, kind of see what people are saying. But sometimes I'll search for certain topics just to see what people are saying in that context. And it's so enlightening just to be able to see like if they're buying for like Father's Day. That was really huge for us. And sometimes
Yeah.
like people will say that just the sweetest things that you get to know your customer, you know? And so I think with that, you know, it really helps us learn a lot. And we're able to bring that back to, you know, all the other departments of like, hey, here's reviews on products or how the website was working or just in general, like this is our customer, you know? And it's always great when you can integrate all your stuff together.
Both of you as a brand, I've noticed this shopping on your websites, you both lean into reviews. I feel like for me, if like I'm gonna buy something, my wife's always like, go research this because I love to research stuff. Like I'm the guy who reads the Amazon reviews, I'm the guy who's like reading about it. I love to like go and look on people's websites and see what they're saying. I'm like, I use TikTok. I mean, I bring this up all the time. I should have TikTok sponsor this podcast, but like I use TikTok to research products and things about like what's the best scent of this product. And I'm super influenced by all that stuff. Do you guys find that because you're targeting men that they're more likely to leave reviews, or do you feel like that's kind of like goes either way?
I think
Yeah.
it goes either way, but I think men are really interested in leaving reviews.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's just because I'm in the industry, but like shout out to Nancy and Ashley at Caraway. I was cooking with some Caraway pans, and we for 4th of July we like pan fried some chicken, and the pan was just like black. It just looked gross, and I left it. We went out for fireworks. I came back the next day. I was not looking forward to washing it, and I literally ran it under soap, cleaned up, looked brand new, like a brand new pan. I took a picture and I text messaged it to Ashley and Nancy, and I said, hey, huge fan of Caraway. Like I did this. And then I was sitting there thinking, like, why am I telling them? I'm going to go on Trustpilot and leave a review.
Yeah.
So I did. I went on Trustpilot. I was like, I'm leaving a review because I was so happy with like how easy it was to clean up this pan. And I think historically, I've never been really like a review person. I'll tell everybody about it.
Mhm.
But then now I'm like seeing the power of like leaving reviews because I
Yeah.
appreciate reviews. I'm like, wait, why am I not sharing my opinion with other people?
I do the same thing. It's
No,
it's like, you know, you think that we would be the ones who are always leaving reviews because we appreciate it so much and understand it. But I'm also like, I get busy. I forget. I see that email and I forget about it. But it does like it's so important to take the time to do that. And I do think a lot of guys are always willing to leave reviews.
yeah. I know a lot of guy friends of mine who look through like Wirecutter, they'll look through like Amazon, they'll look through the product actual PDP page and the reviews. So I don't know if it's like specifically just men, but again, this breaks the notion of what we think male consumers are because
Yeah.
I really do think men care about what they're buying. I didn't think they cared that much, but they do, and it's very impressive. Like they want to know where they're putting their money into, and I'm the exact same. The only time, unfortunately, that I leave a review is when I've had a really bad experience
Okay,
with
that's the
something.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the driver for me, which is disappointing because you want the driver to be a positive thing, but I just don't get out of my bed to leave a positive review for something, which I should do more
Mm-hmm.
of. But our customers really do take the time. And even if it isn't positive, if it is constructive, like I love reading that because that
Yeah.
feedback is so influential within Dr. Squatch. Like, I hope our customers know, but really, we do read the reviews. We do collect
Yes.
it on a daily. And it's not just like going out into the web and then like, thank you for the
Exactly.
4-star review. Like, we care about that stuff. And I can definitely guarantee our departments care about what our customers are saying, like the root beer guy.
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
exactly. And that's
Yeah.
what I think too. Like we've noticed that when we have like a conversation with someone, whether it's live chat, phone, email, and we'll say, hey, like if this was a great conversation for you, if there's anything else you can add that would help us, like here's an Okendo review, a link. And I'm noticing that these customers, they always take their time to mention who it was they talked to. Like we see a huge spike in our review count when our team really prioritizes that versus like, hey, you received the email, you're getting the reminder, like leave a review. But I think because in that moment, they're like, oh, I connected with somebody. And whether it was good or bad, it's still so great to be able to read those messages. Because it's like, okay, someone on my team did a great job, but also it helps us understand like how things are going well. And when customers do read that on the site, then they're like, okay, well, I guess if I ever do have an issue, look at all these people who are willing to help me because all these other people got helped. And I think that's where it's really great to be able to show off like what you and your team can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Katie at Glossier said the same thing. Like people comment and they have their favorite customer service agent and they talk about them on Reddit and all that stuff. And I think that's like aspirational when it comes to building a community to have customer service agents where people are like, hey, I had such a good experience. I'm going to say your name in my review,
Yes,
which is super cool.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
think good transition for segment 4, which is this spotlight on the customer journey. So and maybe we kind of talk a little bit more about this gathering reviews, because I feel like the part of the journey that you guys are obsessing over for your customers, and it's so important, is this review collection. And so Kayla, you're finding that after delivery, people are willing to leave a review, but Tess, like, how are you gathering reviews?
Yeah. So outside of just like, obviously, we also use Okendo. So I'm a big fan
Okay.
of Okendo as well. Glossier, Okendo ratio, we'll name
We're
it
all
all.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, obviously, after they've tried out a product, we ask them to leave a product review. And outside of that, though, I rely heavily on our CSAT and our NPS, because that to me is the entire customer journey. And it's not to say that I don't care about what our customers have to say about our products. We, of course, do. And that's how we improve our products. And our product team constantly asks us what our customers are saying about that. But for me, customer experience isn't just about when they're writing in for us. It's about how they're navigating through our website, what the post-purchase journey is like for them, pretty much like from beginning to end. And NPS is a big thing that we look to for that qualitative data. Our customers take their time to leave very detailed, categorical, but detailed nonetheless, feedback on the experiences they have. And we have a lot of promoters, but I like to look at the detractors. I like to look at even the passives, like what made you leave like a 2 to 3 star and not like a 5 or a 1, what are those like little areas that we could improve just a little bit more to get you to a 5, right?
Mhm.
But the detractors, like I do that on a weekly basis. I look at that data every Monday, which is so lovely. I love starting my Mondays
Yeah,
looking.
with bad reviews.
I'm like, sick. This is so lovely.
Yeah.
But it's so important and so pivotal. And our teams really like, today I sent over a report to our ops team who our COO looks at. It goes up to higher leadership because, again, our company really does care about what our customers have to say, because how else do we continue to grow if we're not reading what our customers have to say? And I can't look at, unfortunately, 5,000 tickets a day and read every single customer interaction. So it's really awesome and amazing that we do have CSAT and NPS to look to identify like the gaps and the areas of improvement for our entire customer's journey. That's kind of how I do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for you, the reviews are important because, in a way, Dr. Squatch is competing with itself. Like, at least Jackson is fully D2C. But if
Mhm.
I can go on your website, I can do a ton of research and then I can just go to Target and buy it, right? And you guys want people to stay on the website, buy it. But if I have a bad experience in Target, I'm going to go to Dr. Squatch's website and leave a negative review on Dr. Squatch. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
an interesting thing where the reviews are important, but controlling what you can control on the website and converting customers there, because also you can't go into a subscription in Target. Like,
No.
so how do you convert people on the website is super important. And I think reviews do that, because if I get excited about something, I'm like, I'll just pull the trigger here.
Yeah.
Um, and I do think like you mentioned the post purchase journey, and obviously that's something I'm super passionate about in my full time role. But I talk to a lot of brands now about using your post purchase experience as a way to educate your customers,
Yeah.
because not only is it going to help build community, but it's going to reduce returns, reduce
Mhm.
exchanges, because they understand, they know what to expect. I think like I've done a ton of research on both your brands. Obviously, Tess, I know all the issues that people have around like critiquing the soaps and the feel, but I also know, Kayla, for the jewelry, like people will get a gold piece and they're like critique the coloring of the gold. And if you don't educate somebody on what gold looks like
Yep.
versus what silver looks like, you could have somebody who's returning something that's a perfectly fine product. And I think,
Exactly. No, it's so true, because if you have a piece that maybe doesn't match something else you own, but I don't know where that was made or exactly what that's made of. So then it's just my job to be able to here's what I can tell you about Jackson and our products. And as well as just letting them know, okay, here's how we can help you with this. Here's what we can do. And I think one great example is I've had a customer before who they were like, yeah, I never got this chain wet and it looks horrible. And so I said, well, let's go through a few things. Like, have you sprayed, cologne directly on it? Did
mhm,
you said you didn't get it where it wasn't wet, but let's think of other things. And finally we got to the point where I was like, do you store it in your bathroom? And they're like, yeah. I said, well, there's a lot of steam in the bathroom. That's wet. That's moisture right there. And it's just something they didn't think of, because they're thinking, oh, I did not submerge this in water. How did this happen? And then we had a moment of oh, did you know there's a lot of things you're not supposed to store in the bathroom because of the steam? And I had this great conversation with the customer. They got totally off topic of what the original thing was, but they learned a lot. I think we learned a lot and we were able
yeah.
to help them. And so it's one of those things where you really do have to dig a little deeper.
And I think you dig into those gorgeous tickets if you're reading them, right? If you're reading your customer support tickets, I guess I don't need to just say gorgeous tickets. If you're reading your customer service tickets, then you're seeing some of those issues. And then I
Mm-hmm.
always tell brands that I work with, I'm like, okay, now how do we take that? If that steam issue is coming up a lot, how do we then take that
Yeah.
and put that in an email post purchase that's segmented, that's like, hey Kayla, hey Tess, get excited, your rope chain is coming. Here's the proper way to store your jewelry when you're not
Yeah.
wearing it. And then it minimizes that.
I love this subject because this is literally something our department is actually talking about right now. I'm going to shout out a competitor company of ours. Dr. Bronner's is actually really great at educating their customers, and we are learning from that. And obviously, we have our help desk, FAQs, we have our macros. We've educated our agents on how to handle any product questions and take best practices essentially. But what I'm realizing is that post purchase, like when you receive your order, we have a lot of reviews about our shelf life on our soap. And this is a natural soap. So obviously, shelf life is going to be shorter than one from, I'm not going to name a brand, but other
Other
companies,
brands.
other brands.
Yeah.
So, customers aren't always aware of that, and they're like, why does my soap last at this amount of time? So how we educate them once they receive their product is really important for us, and that's something that we're looking into, but also within our emails. So you got an email about your order confirmation being sent out your way. How do we condense it to be very tailored to what you've bought and with the proper education? Because again, I've said this, I feel like I'm just echoing everything, but our customers really care about what they're buying,
Yeah.
and they're reading the reviews and everything. But I think it's also touching every area to make sure that they're educated in
Yes.
every point of their purchase with us is really important. And that's definitely an area that we're looking into. So I'm really loving that conversation, Larry.
And Kayla, you have to just for fun, if you're on Facebook, join a Dr. Squatch fan group,
Yes, I
because
will.
people will have like their shelves full of soaps, and then people will be like, yeah, I'm looking for this SpongeBob soap, and they'll take a picture with like a handwritten date,
Crazy.
like it's a kidnap photo, like a
Yeah.
kidnapping photo, and you hold up the paper so that you can prove that you're still like alive. And it's like, oh, here I have these 4 bars of soap, and here's me handwriting the date, and then I post it. And like there's a huge resale market of these
That's so
soaps.
funny. I
It's
love
wild.
that. It's soap. You wouldn't think that's something. that would turn out that way.
It's crazy. We've talked about Sydney Sweeney, but her resale soap went for almost $3,000 on eBay.
I know.
That's
The resale
wild.
value of it's actually, and I hope no one paid $3,000 for a soap. But the resale value on our soaps is quite insane, and it's just so fun. Like I think it's kind of fun to see.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you guys like love shoes as much as I do, and like, we're like a old hype beast kid, like you know the way that the men react to like Nikes or Air Force or whatever, that's the way they react to our soaps.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's so bizarre, but I love the fan base. So
Clearly, they're connecting to it, and that's what's really fun.
they are, yeah. And we have so many awesome collabs. Like I'm a nerd. I love well, I'm not calling our customers nerds. I'm the nerd.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm like, so they are too. But yeah, we have like anime collabs, we have Marvel collabs, we have Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. Like we have a collab with every type of customer there could possibly be. So we're like reaching out to every consumer base and being like, you will like this soap. Like
Yeah.
one of you watches Lord of the Rings.
One of you watches Harry Potter. You'll love this one. When do we get the Harry Potter Jackson collab? That's what I need. Like,
I don't even know, but that would be so funny, honestly. There are so many things where I was like, we need to collab this, but I don't know if anyone is like interested but me or someone else at the office who brings it up something random. But I think it's like it's a way to make it really fun. It brings in a lot of those interests where I feel like as like millennials, like there's those things of like that we loved as kids that now is like, well, we have grown up money and we're gonna
yeah.
start spending that on those things where it's still super relatable. So I think it's all those things are so fun.
I could
So
definitely see. I was going to say, I could see an idea for men who wear jewelry and also like to be clean. Like,
Yes.
but also with the nostalgia. Yeah, like we released a Minecraft and I loved Minecraft
Oh
as a
my
kid.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah. And I just was like, oh, who's going to buy this soap? And then like it sold out. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, so people are loving
Yes, there was people who really liked it. Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah,
I know I
sorry.
lean into nostalgia. That's why, like with the CX Mixer logo, it's like 90s Nickelodeon vibes is what I had
Yeah.
them do. Because I'm like, I wanted something that stood out, but then also as like the people that I'm talking to are close in age to me, it's like that is comforting, like that Nickelodeon 90s vibe. So well, cool. This is my favorite segment that we do, and I think I might have said this earlier, but this is actually really my favorite segment. So segment 5, our CX Mythbuster. So as we round out this episode, like what's a myth you hear about CX, about e-commerce, about selling to men that you completely disagree with? And maybe we'll start with you, Kayla.
I think one of the myths is that the majority of men want like self-service or like easy ways of getting information or communication when those are some of the chattiest customers you could ever come into contact with. And I think that there are a lot of guys who they want to share their opinion, they want to ask additional questions, but they don't want it to be like they want to be able to like they're connecting with someone because they want to know your opinion as well. And I've noticed that a lot. So I think it's just like also understanding that while I think it's another one too, just kind of about understanding your customer, that something that like okay, we market to a lot of younger guys like 20 to late 30s. They like sports, but we have so many different kinds of customers, and we have this really fun group of like kind of like 40s and 50s and even early 60s like men who are just they love our product, but they also really want your opinion. Like from our team, they'll be like, well, I'm looking for this, and is this chain gonna look good if I wear it to dinner with friends, or like I'm going on a vacation, and they want our opinion. And so I think that's always where like you don't have to hold back. I think you can double down on the ways you engage with customers.
Yeah, I think that that's true. I think for me, I look at like, I wish as a man that there were more male product influencers. There's a lot of like when I'm looking up something, I kind of want to know, and I don't care if it's a women's product that a man's using or something. We were just talking about this with Glossier. I told Katie afterwards, like I watched a bunch of TikToks around how amazing their perfume is for men's cologne. And I grabbed a couple bottles and it's great. Like it's like but I love that there were men influencers that were talking about these skincare and beauty products and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I need people to talk to me more and I want to talk to more people. Tess, what about you? Like what's a myth that you just want to totally bust about CX?
Yeah, I mean, for us specifically in Dr. Squatch, again, I've touched on this before, but I don't think they know that it's three women who are navigating CX. So I think there's a preconceived notion that, the same type of gender will understand that gender's like concerns and um, whatever. And for me, it's like, no, at the end of the day, like, I don't need to be a man to understand that you're upset
Mm-hmm.
about this, specific bar soap, not lasting as long as it wanted to. And vice versa. Like, I don't want them to feel like they can't speak to a female agent
Yeah.
about their soap issues because at the end of the day, it's just about really hearing what your customer has to say and meeting them where they're at. um, it's really taught me a lot. Like, again, I've come from female owned businesses, and this is the first time I work for a male owned business that is literally for the men, by men. And it's really, really cool that I can be a woman working for a male brand and get to really understand what our male consumers are like nowadays, what they care about, which is a lot, to be quite frank. And I love that. I love that they're very, like, even you, Larry, like the way that you're such a conscious spender. That's a lot of my male friends as well. And I'm like, I don't know what this preconceived notion is about men just not caring about how they dress, how they smell,
Hmm.
um, or, any of the above. But I'm really glad men care about how they smell. Thank God. I'm like, wow, so wonderful to see that you care about your hygiene. And, again, at the end of the day, it's like, I don't think they care that a woman is answering their ticket. They just
Yeah.
want to make sure that we hear them, that we care about their concerns, and that at the end of the day, we're just making their lives a little bit easier buying the $7
Yeah.
soap that they need.
And that was the hot take from Maritza at Balabar. And she was like, look, kindness gets you a lot farther than being an angry customer.
Yes.
And if you are calling and treating a CX or customer service rep poorly, especially because you're like, I want to talk to a guy, like, then that's not going to get you very far.
Yeah, well, I'm like, well, I'm the manager. So
Yeah. So too
Yeah.
bad.
yeah.
Right.
But also on the flip side, like we were talking about like word of mouth, and the Asian that we always get people talking a lot about is Chad, who is
Mm.
AI, and I'm like, that's so funny because not only did a woman design that for you, because she did, like Joan at the back end, like tailored it to fit like the male customers of ours, but also he's not even real. He's
Right.
AI.
Do
So
people say Chad told me?
yes, they do. I'll go to like, I think I went to another conference and they were like, we love your agent, Chad. And I was like, I love
Well,
him too.
I'll let
He's
him
great.
know. I'll let
Chad,
him know.
always coming through.
Yeah, Chad's great.
Well, anything else before we wrap this episode up that you guys want to get off your chest? I know before we started recording, we talked a little bit, and I think this is a good way to end season 5 because we're about, or season 5, whoa, episode 5, season 1. Look at me like manifesting. So right before, there's a couple other conferences that are coming up, and you guys both attend a lot of conferences. I mean, I've ran into you a handful of times, but you guys were saying like a big thing that you guys appreciate is just kind of like people approaching you in a polite and non-aggressive manner, similar to how you want your customers to approach you. So I think like that's something that we talked a little bit about. Is there anything that you are like, hey, vendors, when I'm walking through a conference, like this is how I want you to talk to me?
Yeah. I think it's like it's all about the trust and getting to know someone because down the line, if that's how you started, your connection and it's built on more of like, hey, we have something in common or we had this experience together. I just thought you were a friendly person. I'm more likely to come to you later and ask for like, hey, we're looking for this type of service or maybe I have a colleague who is interested in this and I think that's where it works out better. But also I think just in CX in general, like we need to have these, we need to have this community. And I think it just makes it all so much better when you can connect rather than like, oh, I have a stalker from this one vendor who won't leave me alone. You don't want that.
And Tess, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to a couple conferences and I think there's always like the type of vendor that will just like kind of bombard you right off the bat and come in really hot and passionate about how they can make everything better for you. And I love that. I love the passion, but I think like taking a step back, really humanizing it. I hate it feeling transactional. I used to work in sales too, so I know when you're trying to sell something to me, and I can very quickly suss that out. And that's totally fine. Like we're all here in the business. We understand that. But for me, really getting to know you will help me connect with you more. Like I love seeing our existing vendors also
Mhm.
reach out to us,
Yes.
come up to us, like know us. But yeah, for me, it's really just human to human. Let's joke a little. Let's get to know each other before you come
Yeah.
in hot and try to sell me something AI probably that will
No.
like improve.
Are we tired of AI yet, or are we?
It's a buzzword for sure. I look at it the same way as people use like sustainability and all those other buzzwords. I
Yeah.
love AI, don't get me wrong, but I still look at it as just a growing tool.
Hmm.
So I will always stand by that humans will do the job better because they have empathy. That is like the one tool, like the one thing that AI will never have. Well, let me not say that. And then Terminator comes up on me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, AI is
Chad
great.
Chad becomes a human and comes after you.
He gains consciousness.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, damn.
Um, no, I love all that. I think that's, yeah, we just kind of like threw that in at the end. I think that was kind of a fun way to end it. But if people want to connect with you, then LinkedIn's a great way to connect, right? You both are pretty
Yes.
active on LinkedIn.
Yes, absolutely.
So people
Yeah.
can connect there. And I just appreciate you guys both jumping in and helping me round out season 1. I think this was a strong way to end the episode. And yeah, thanks you guys.
Thank you, Larry. This has
Thank
been
you. It's
so
been fun.
Men were angry. They wanted their bars of soap and they wanted their like free Trojan.
well, we love that. Actually, we love safe, We actually had a female customer once flirt with our AI bot
Oh,
for a really long time.
you got to save this for the CX Mixer reality show trash talk episode that we can do.
Yeah.
Exactly.